Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Gwent, the Witcher card game. These will be my first impressions of the closed beta of Gwent. So, those of you that have played The Witcher 3 will immediately know exactly what Gwent is, and in fact will have quite an advantage going into this game. You'll know the basic gameplay mechanics, though some things have changed, but you'll feel right at home. Those of you that haven't played Witcher 3 and don't know what Gwent is, or haven't literally touched Gwent in Witcher 3, then a basic quick description of Gwent would be a collectible card game reminiscent of Hearthstone, with the combat mechanics slightly changed. Namely, you do your combat at the end of the round when you've played all your cards. Now, you take turns in playing those cards, which is a big difference, when you compare it to Hearthstone. Enough chit-chatter though, let me just get into a game and show you it is far easier to do it like that. But before we actually start a game and I explain the differences between this and Gwent and other card games, let's take a look at the business model. There is a deck builder, of course, and you can view a collection of cards there. The options menu is all fine and dandy, but as far as the shop is concerned, this is fairly important. Since Gwent is going to be a free-to-play game, the business model, as you'll agree, is vital. And the business model is as follows. Exactly pretty much like Hearthstone in its early days. The only thing you can right now buy are kegs. These are essentially your card packs. You get 4 cards. I'm sorry, his breathing and chit-chatter really distracts me. I've seen your soup. I've helped you make it. I've played The Witcher. Do not offer me soup. I know what it's made from. Yes, you buy your kegs from Trollololololo Man. I fuck you not, that is his name. You pick 4 cards, and the 5th one is a choice between 3. You take 1, and the other 2 get destroyed. So, from 1 keg, you get basically 5 cards to put into your deck. We're going to take a look at the deck builder a little bit later. I think it's actually very well done. But for now, let's queue up against an AI, really quickly to show you the basics of gameplay, and then we'll play against someone else online. So, again, I'm going to lean quite a lot on I'm going to lean quite a lot on The Witcher 3, and I'm going to hope that you guys played that. Choose a non-golden unit card on bell and remove 3 strength. That's not bad, that's a total of 7. That's pretty bad though, it's a total of 5. I don't like that. Okay, there we go. Each faction, of course, has its own special tweaks and quirks. Some get to play a unique unit, some get to spawn a copy of a unit, for example the Foltest or the Northern Realms. The monsters and Eredin get to pick one of their at random pick one of their monsters on the field, and it all survives into the next round. Stuff like that, it's pretty much stuff you'd expect from The Witcher 3, from that game. However, what has changed immensely are the cards themselves. The cards that you are dealt and the cards that you play are very different from what you expect to see. Because, obviously this is a standalone version of the game, and a lot of things were going to be changed. So, specifically, when you look at units, pretty much, not all of them, but a vast majority of them now have abilities, which simply wasn't the case in Witcher 3. For example, this unit transforms into a bear upon entering the graveyard. That's a fairly in-depth mechanic, right? You enter the graveyard and then he gets a buff, which means the entire point around this unit is to resurrect it, with, for example, the Priestess of Freya. Priestess of Freya basically is the medic from the previous game. Also, I say the previous game, from Witcher 3. Right, Commander's Horn is there, and some of the iconic cards are still there, of course. Now, yes, I will play Warcry. There we go. The effects are really nice, I should add.
The storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
Okay. Now, another thing that is you'll find perhaps refreshing and a good addition to the gameplay. You get to play around with the value of both your cards and your opponent's cards quite a lot in this game. What do I mean by that? Well, as you saw from the Scoia'tael playing their deck, and myself a little bit, you'll notice that essentially there is a whole lot of do this much damage to that unit, do this, or buff this unit by that much. This is all prior to the end of the round, where the main combat, quote-unquote, happens. It's actually just a calculation of who has more points wins the round. But the point being, as I've won the first round rather dominantly, the point being, you get to play around with those values a ton, and that is really a great thing indeed. You get to do a little bit more mental math, a little bit more calculations, and you get... perhaps I should thank you for that? I'm not quite sure. You get to do, like I said, more mental math, you get to do certain things that you simply never really had the options to in the Gwent. So, or in the Gwent game in Witcher 3. But, as far as the key and essential elements are concerned, this is, I believe, pretty much it. Now, this bear is actually just 4, but it adds 2 strength to the unit for each unit on the battlefield with the strength below its original value, which was 4, so that's not ideal. But let's get the warrior. It's a 6, I think the value proposition is better there. But it's okay, I've brought plenty of weather cards. Let's just figure out how we're going to do this. Do I clear weather? Yeah. Yes, I think I do. Let's do some damage first. Let's delay this as much as physically possible. There we go. Now, clear skies. An advantage. I'm sorry, has an advantage again. He does have 3 cards left. I would really like to not play this right now. Do another clear weather. See what he does. That's something. Okay, I will play Torrential Rain, and in thus pretty much end my turn. But a pretty big advantage. There we go. And I'm hoping I've won. Yes, I have. Excellent. There we go. So there you go. That was the average game of Gwent for you. Now, what sets this game apart from its competitors? And in the recent year, I suppose, or previous year, maybe, especially in the previous 6 months, it received quite a lot of competition. There's not hundreds, but there are quite a few very good, very solid, very well-balanced games out there that are playing around with the similar style of gameplay, at least. Collectible card games, you beat other opponents in online, you collect cards, you can also buy cards, stuff like that. Yeah, though some of the gameplay elements around the card game itself do tend to vary quite a bit, the core essence is the same, I suppose. What sets this game apart? Well, being in the Witcher universe, it's aesthetic and all the various cards that you get to play around with does set it apart. It's worked for Hearthstone. I mean, imagine if Hearthstone wasn't set in World of Warcraft. The game wouldn't be as enjoyable, would it? So, same here for any of for I guess this is the game directly aimed at Witcher fans in terms of its aesthetic, which would make sense. But more than that, it is, of course, very enjoyable for people that have never played Witcher. I mean, I'll do the analogy here, and just bear with me as I do it. I've never actually played Warcraft prior to playing Hearthstone. So I started off with Hearthstone and then played World of Warcraft. There you go. Things like that, for example, do apply here as well. You can do the same thing and not feel weird, I suppose, is the the word, right? Not feel out of place or any sort of not feel anything wrong, I suppose, initially when doing it. But that's more or less everything that there is to know about the game. As far as balance is concerned, I'm not going to talk about it. I was going to. I do have an entire list here of balance stuff to talk about. I'm not going to do that, though. Here's my reasoning. This is a closed beta. There is a limited, though not that harshly limited, but a fairly limited amount of people that are allowed access to this game. As a result, everything is still in testing. This means that tomorrow, the Fiend might not have no ability in 8 strength, it might have 6 strength and an ability of some description, right? So stuff like this changes all the time, is my point, and as a result of it changing all the time, it's really pointless, yes, that was a bit of a pun, pointless to talk about balance and comment on that in its current state. Once the game comes out of closed beta and into open beta, then yeah, you know, certain criticism and stuff like that will begin to appear and will need to be taken into consideration, of course. But for now, I will tell you from what my somewhat limited experience, the game does seem to be fairly well balanced. Of course, you're going to need thousands, literally thousands of hands played in order to determine whether a particular faction is a little bit stronger than another, and you have to appreciate the fact that it is very difficult to balance them out. In fact, one of my primary praises for the game is the way different factions play. You might not expect it initially. I mean, you're looking at these units and they're like, yeah, they're all units. No, but the tactics that you employ and the mindset that you need in order to be successful with these, yeah, that's one, I expected as much. The mindset that you need to get into when playing with these different factions is, well, it changes. Sorry, it changes. It varies quite a lot from one to the other. Now, he has 6 guards, I have 6 guards. I'm going to play Eredin. There we go, that's 10, that's 44, and then I'm going to save this one for next turn, save this for next turn, save Scorch for next turn. Do this, yeah? I think so. And then we've won this turn with 4 cards, which is not ideal, but definitively manageable, especially because of the faction ability. Though, of course, he would get the better card in the RNG department. Oh well. Oh, I did draw Geralt, though, and the Fiend. Okay, that's interesting. So, for example, now I'm going to show you one of the more, excuse me? Oh, it says on the opponent side of the battlefield, I didn't realise that. I thought I could use this on this guy, and yeah, sorry about that, my bad. I thought it said on the opponent, I thought it didn't say on the opponent side, I thought it just said on the battlefield. Read the card descriptions, kids, read the card descriptions. By the way, before we continue, can I just mention the art, the art on the cards and the animations as well. Crisp. Bloody crisp, okay? Fantastic. The animations and the entire, you know, like the 2 swords and everything, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous cards. Glad we got that out of the way. Moving on. Sorry about that.
There is no escape.
I think I'm done now. I'm just going to end this, I'm just going to pass him and see what he can do. Might be able to beat me. In fact, now I'm pretty sure he is going to beat me. There we... No! No! No, I've won just barely. Well, there you go. Awesome. We've won yet another round. That was all against AI, though. Let's go and get my ass kicked against a proper opponent online. Mostly playing as the Northern Realms and the monsters. I haven't really tested the Squirtle and the Skellige that much. So, I'm going to play with Foltest and the Northern Realms deck. There you go. like I said, limited amount of people in the closed beta, but the matchmaking is fairly short. Or the time it takes for you to find a opponent is fairly short. And something I want to talk about, well actually I probably should mention this by the time we end this game rather than at the start of it, but there is a GG mechanic. Now you're going to tell me, what the fuck is that? GG mechanic, essentially, if you believe that your opponent has done well and has played a good game, you can click the GG button, and instead of just telling him, you know, good game and having nice manners and all that, you actually give him 5 bonus scrap. Now, it's fairly pitiful, but it's not that bad, and it's not as bad as you might think. 5 scrap is pretty damn useful, especially considering you get none if you lost. So, getting 5 scrap from your opponent just from clicking GG is a fairly good thing. Now, my issue with this is that it's very open to abuse, like you might, you might expect. There are some horribly mannered people that are never going to click that button. Why? Because that's what they're like. Now, I will tell you this, I've played a decent number of games, or a decent number of hands, I suppose you would call them, and I've not run into a person that has done that to me yet. Now, again, this is a closed beta, and mostly sensible people are admitted into the closed beta, so again, bear that with, or I guess take that with a pinch of salt. But anyways, I really feel like there is not much else to say. The various combinations, the various plays, the various decks you can build. Actually, deck building is a huge part of this. I guess it is in pretty much every collectible card game, but there is a huge amount of cards available to you. Some flat-out upgrades over the others. That does exist. For example, the poor effing inventory is just a bad card. And it serves there as a placeholder until you get something better. You know, something get more and more rare or more exotic, shall we say. And then you play that. Or, not play that, you put that into your deck, right? But, I'm going to take this one, actually. I don't want to leave this. If he plays another one, I'm going to scorch them. So don't go above 8. This also, Scorch, very important, okay? If you're going to get into this game, Scorch destroys units on both ends of the field, right? So bear that in mind. I've screwed myself over, I think, twice with it, so just bear that in mind. Scorch, not as good as you might think. Well, actually great, but works both ways. Now, obviously, you know, the amount of cards you have in your hand versus the amount of cards you played, all of those things do influence and do matter. And then there are certainly a large amount of combinations and very high skill ceiling to be observed, I suppose. Let's say in this game, but the core gameplay and the bases are exactly this what you see here before you. For example, okay, maybe it wasn't exactly fair on the poor infantry. They do spawn one exact copy of the unit, which is a value of 6. Which is not that good considering, like, yeah, there are units that cost 8, but there's 2 of them, which means this thing now becomes a lot more viable, yeah? Because now we, instead of increasing it by 3, we increased it by another 6, so yeah, I guess, it all sort of depends on your playstyle and then the cards you're going to switch out. That said, though, the basic starter decks are really good. And that's very important. I think people often underestimate just how important that is. Having a good starter deck is damn near vital to any game's... I have no idea what that... I didn't read the thing properly. Choose a friendly bronze unit and play a copy of it from your deck. Okay, well I didn't have either of them to copies. Oh, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. Now, let's see. Considering the game talk is done, I believe that I have nothing else to tell you.
Attack!
For it, so let's instead focus on winning this game, so let's do that. And then that does put us at 9, so keep Scorch in mind when you're doing this. This gives 8. Okay. See what he does. Mostly going to be, my plays are mostly going to depend on his reactions to me. Unfortunately, Epidemic is useless in this situation because it destroys the weakest card, which would be this, and this is the sacrificial lamb, if you will. Because it spawns one short unit when removed, and you don't want to spawn that thing if at all possible. What have you done? Ah! You just opened up my Scorch. Okay, congratulations. That was expensive, actually. That was really expensive. As far as cards go. Let's see what else he's got. I have quite a bit... Oh, we have there's 3 of those. I have quite a bit of burst, if you will, available to me, along with clear weather, so... Let's use it, then. 10 on him. That... it does leave me a little bit vulnerable for Scorch, but I think if he had Scorch, he would have played it on the 2 infantrymen already. Unless... Ah, okay. Well, in that case... Oh! Can I... unfortunately, I can't. Oh, wait! There's reason behind my madness. No, there is not, actually. It doesn't really make a difference. GG, unless... I'm going to clear weather, obviously. Now that drives them away, and now I'm at 32, but he does have 2 cards left. And mine is Epidemic, which, unless he spawns like 10 level 1 strength cards right there, is entirely useless. And he's won. Okay, congratulations to my opponent. He is indeed won. GG, sir. GG. And there we go. Spoils of War. Received 5 ore. What is 5 ore? This I've not encountered yet. Oh, let's look at the collection. Welcome to the card collection. After reaching level 3, you'll also be able to go to mill unwanted cards. Yes. So you craft them with that thing, but apparently ore is also a thing. Is ore used for a particular type of card? No? Maybe? Who knows? Who knows? I can't see ore being used for anything here in particular, but there we go. That's been it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. That is Gwent, and that is you know, the Gwent essentials that you need to know before deciding whether you should pick this game up or not. What do I think of it? Great. Great, but for one particular reason. I don't play Hearthstone anymore. I haven't played Hearthstone in over a year, and the meta's moved on. Everything has moved on. It's damn near impossible for me to catch up. I don't really feel the urge or the need to catch up, but with this game being accepted into closed beta, I do feel like I could keep up with the game and play this, day in, day out without it really getting boring. I mean, think about it. It's a little bit of mental math every day. It's a little bit of thinking in matches that are fairly short and exercise the brain. So, and it's a collectible card game along the way. Everybody likes collectible card games, right? I know that's factually incorrect, but anyways, those have been my first impressions of Gwent. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed this video, and would perhaps like to see more Gwent on this channel. Until next time, take care, and bye-bye.